Amanda.
We may be having a little bit of a fun time right now. So, hi everyone.
Wait a minute, is this thing on?
Hello?
We're gonna do it live.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Avondale. I'm Fallen Drift and Mouthfuls of Grapes.
Oh my god.
Is that the title of the episode?
It's the name of our band, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mouthfuls of grapes.
Mouthfuls of grapes. Write that down. Sponsored by Kobold's Closet.
We already broke Steve. Hi, everyone.
Let's do it.
I have to. We seriously. Oh man, I need that T-shirt. Okay, I went to Kobold's Closet and all I got was this lousy fucking T-shirt.
I went to Kobold's Closet and all I got was
With these mouthful of grapes.
I got a really bad case of dysentery. Let's go over some fun facts because we're just gonna get started. Who wants to kick this thing off?
Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Go ahead, man. Go.
So, Shahid's favorite drink is called royal tea. Royal tea. It's a Earl Grey tea with lemon juice, sugar, and a dry gin.
I got one.
Yeah. Oh, Mike.
Yeah, I actually have one.
Look at you participate.
Look at me. I'm participating and I'm prepared, and it's not just translating something about me in real life.
This is really non-bearded Mike's twin brother.
It's another Dave and Buster's trivia.
Yes, Casper was born in a Dave and Buster's. Yeah.
In a claw machine.
Yeah, his aunt just picked him out of the claw machine. No, Casper was, as a child, naturally left-handed, but that was strongly encouraged / forced out of him by his superstitious aunt. She basically forced him to do everything right-handed because can't have a lefty.
Casper he's my tribe.
Me next. Renault was blind for an entire week after sneezing into a bag of dried ice cream.
Oh my fucking god. Why does that also sound like a zombie trivia too? Like that absolutely sounds like something he would do.
How?
Don't worry about it. Magic.
Have that dried ice cream. And
Magic dried ice cream.
That space stuff is delicious until you have to sneeze.
Till you have to sneeze.
I demand an RP session about it.
That's fine. I know. I was like, I want to say, and roll clip. I really want to.
Ophelia is allergic to grapes.
So she couldn't have possibly drank all that wine.
No, that's not really it. Ever since she's found a sort of endearment to Renault's like big words and like scientific jargon, she's sort of been writing every new word that she learns from him. Not necessarily definitions because he never really explains what they mean, but just in case he says them again, she's like learning his language.
I like that.
It saves me from having to learn, like, as a player, what he means.
It's just no accountability. We're done. Let's see if we can do this. On our way! Back at the residence of Ophelia Moore, several people have gathered together around the dead body of one Mr. Malave. A portion of his skull cap removed, and pouring out of it, of course, blood. However, not a lot of brain there left. This is exactly where we left off, guys. Victor, thank you so much for the 100 biddy chair. What do you guys want to do?
Speak with dead, speak with dead, speak with dead. And I say that out loud.
Okay, all right.
What?
Hold on, I forgot to put up my character sheet because I'm prepared.
Okay, so you begin the process of speak with dead. It's going to take you. It's pretty quick. It's only one action. So you immediately light up some incense, which you happen to have laying around. This is your house, after all. And after a little bit of time, the spell is cast.
Malay, are you all right? And I'm going to like hold him, and there's blood and gross shit all over. Darling, speak to me. Are you okay? Are you in pain?
I'm sorry, I don't exactly remember much of anything. Who is that?
It's Ophelia.
Hey, I don't know. What is happening?
You're all right. You're having a bad dream. Listen. What do you remember who did this to you?
It all happened so quick. I don't remember much. It was there and then it wasn't there. Something came around. I remember seeing a bright flash of red. Oh God, the red! It's just not going to.
It's. Try not to think about what actually happened. I'm more concerned with who. You said it. Was it a figure? A man?
A new
animal,
subscriber. Hello there.
Do you know who?
I don't know who. I don't know nothing else about it. I was facing the garden window. I heard something come up behind me, and that was it. I saw red. That was it.
So okay. So you don't have much of a brain.
What?
It's all right. You'll remember, this is just a bad dream. You don't have much of a brain. Do you know if they left through the front door or the back? Because I don't see it, and I'm afraid they might have taken it.
I saw the red light, and that was it.
Red light like magic?
I saw red light, and then nothing, and then there was black. Where are you? I can't see you!
Well, yes, dear, your eyes are closed. It's a bad dream, remember? It's all
Yes,
right.
yes,
You'll wake up in
remember.
You'll wake up in the morning and it will be fine. Stranger things have happened in Fallen Drift.
You have one more question left.
I'm going to look to everybody else. I don't know what to say.
How was he killed? Did he tell you?
He said there was just a red light. He didn't know if it was magical means or a weapon or... I'm afraid I don't have much more time. Is there something I should be asking him?
Maybe if he heard something or sensed something before the kill? Did he say anything about that?
Can we hear Malay's responses to you, or is it just to you?
Grant semblance of life and intelligence to a corpse.
Okay.
Okay, so it has to have a mouth. So I'm assuming that it is actually processing air, and then the vocal cords are being activated. So yeah, I'm going to say that everyone can hear it.
Oh, okay.
He said he was looking out the window and something came up from behind him, and pointing to the body. This is lying like it was facing the door. Did that happen before he was killed or after?
I don't know if he's going to remember that, boss.
No, I don't. I'm trying to think if there's anything we could ask to figure out.
Malay, did you hear somebody coming down the stairs before?
I heard nothing other than it sounded like something dropped repeatedly. Very heavy footsteps coming up behind me. And then the red light. And then there was nothing. No.
Malay?
And his body goes completely limp. They started up a hype train. So you guys are going to get +1, +2 things, but I don't want to stop the mood.
Oh. I'm terribly sorry, Ms. Moore. I know this man meant quite a deal to you.
You know, it's funny. He's sort of been elusive his whole life. I knew very little about him at all, and yet he was probably my closest confidant. Would you mind helping me bury him?
Oh, God, yeah, of course. And as I do that, I want to examine the wound. How exactly was his, like, is it jagged lines by his head? Or was it like a clean slice? Was it crushed? Like, what does it seem like are the means of the removal of the cranium?
Not a problem. Give me a medicine check.
Oh, sure. Medicine.
We're going to assume that you can generally get an idea as to, like, the condition of it, but specifically because you asked.
Sure, 10.
Okay. So the first thing that skipped your the first observation was that the entire skull cap had been removed in a very clean fashion. It was skipped because you've seen this in anatomical schools and other things like that. It's almost as like the human skull just naturally parts that way. But then you take a look at it, and you recognize that no blade did this. This was nothing that... You don't know of anything that can cause such a clean cut. Now, the surgeons of the day use saws, and you would expect to see like where the saw blade skipped a little bit on the cranium. You don't even see that. Now give me a perception check.
All right. 19.
You can see burning. It's very slight, but just at the wall of the cranium where the cut occurred, you can see it is slightly burned. Like some places are slightly discolored, and you're looking at it going, it's almost as if it was melted very quick.
Ms. Moore, I don't mean to be rude as we're about to move Mr. Malave's body. However, this looks as if the slice was extremely clean. Like, there's no bumps from a blade or a saw, and there's this almost black charring, like it's burnt.
That's impossible unless if somebody had surgically precise hands with the fire poker. There's nothing here that could do something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like a heated blade or something. You know, I can't think of what though. It's not too.
With that, I'm going to skip over to Mr. Renault. Mr. Renault, where are you, my friend?
Likely under the bridge in my little workshop.
Yeah. Your workshop. You notice a couple of pieces missing, but you also notice a couple of pieces seem to have been returned, along with, or rather, pieces that have been missing for a couple of weeks now. You just assumed that something happened. You now see a returned piece with an IOU note. Seems like someone else is also borrowing your shit. Having said that, is there anything in particular that you would like to do while you're there?
Aside from do a better job locking up and hiding these little corridor underneath the bridge, I'm going to actually close it this time and make sure it's secured.
When you approached it, it was completely locked. 0 signs of entry. Me?
Well, no.
Oh.
There is possibility that someone else is capable of traversing different routes. I would assume that if they were, then it was absolutely necessary to get to those points. That means that something that is missing is not necessarily the thing that they wanted to steal because it was unrecognizable. However, they could have had it so that it is something outside of the temporal necessity, the chaotic thing, perhaps. I got it. It needed to go. And I'm just going to walk out.
Okay. Where do you go from there?
At the Intelligarium, I have the workshop, or I have Miss Moore's place, which is a way to go. Is it raining?
It's always just a little bit on the damp side.
Okay. I will prepare a parasol and a very rickety, junked piece of equipment, and I will head to Miss Moore's residence.
Okay, not a problem. You do so, and as you go through the city of Fallen Drift, you can see much of it has already gone to sleep. It's close to midnight or so. You see a couple street vendors are still out and about. Central markets are, of course, for the most part, shut down, but people are still gathering. You are coming up on a period of time within the city where some holidays will be celebrated soon, so there is a lot of bustle in there. Nonetheless, after about a half hour or so, you finally make it to the posh establishment of Miss Moore's residence.
Posh.
What are you doing?
Miss Moore, I know it's late, but I'm going to knock loudly so you know it's me.
Let him in. Let him in.
Oh, I walk over to the door and I open it.
Okay.
Come inside. Close the door. Don't freak out. There's been a murder.
But we were all murdered. Wait.
Oh, no.
Let me get in here, and I close the door behind me.
Okay, not a problem.
Yeah, weren't we all murdered? Putting away my umbrella.
Letter of the law, we weren't all murdered. You know, Miss Moore had an accidental death. We tried the carriage driver for murder. Sorry.
Sorry?
This is my associate is the victim, and he is not coming back. But now that you're here, would you mind looking at this before we lay him to rest?
They are definitely dead, and we're just fine with this.
No, of course I'm not fine with it. Everybody grieves in their own way. I'm going to obviously be completely distraught about this later, not in front of the gentleman. Can you just come look at this?
That is fine. I'm going to investigate this.
Could you describe, Shahid, what you said to me about the burning?
Absolutely. So,
just to be clear, there's not so much of a scorching, but rather a very slight discoloration. Taking a look at it, though, you also realize that some of the bone had been melted rather than burned. So I'm just correcting something. All right.
So if you look here, the laceration around the head seems completely clean. Originally, I took it for granted as if it was a single blade strike that would have done this, but there's no bumping or vibrating of the hands once it would have connected with the cranium. And there's these, for the lack of a better word, almost like blackish scorch marks or something. I don't know. And there's what looks like melting on the bone. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
With an investigation check of 22, can I go off on this one, Steve?
Have at it, dude.
Are you all at all familiar with the presumed states of matter that exists?
No.
No.
Well, commonly, for the longest time, it was assumed that there were only basically three, solid, liquid, and gas. Now, these things have their states based off of something known as the temperature. If something is warm, generally have a better chance of having a solid object be cold, and things that are developed through chemical processes and reactions and endothermics will become a gas. At least the reactions. There's an interchanging event that occurs between most chemicals that changes them into one of these states. Nonetheless, there was another state of matter that was caused that could be the result of this issue here, but it is harder to control or understand. You said there's no way that it could have been done by a physical blade, yes?
I mean, I'm assuming so just by how clean this is, and a regular blade wouldn't leave such marks, at least ones that I've ever come across.
And I'm guessing from the edges of this, it is somewhat malleable. Do you have something I can touch with this? I don't have any. Do you have any medical tools or something? I have something. He reaches in, he grabs one of the scalpels, and he presses it, and these edges are actually still soft, so it is very unlikely it was caused by a high-pressure liquid.
Oh, thank God for that.
There is, Steve, is it a directional? Is there a directional cut?
Give me an Arcana.
All right.
Oh, that's a weird thing to roll for a question like that.
Because he doesn't, 5e doesn't have like an engineering thing, and his class uses Arcana for that.
Oh.
19? Do we have a hype train?
Yeah, you have a +1 and a +2.
I'll use that +1 and make it a 20, please.
You got it. Yeah, dude. Yes, there was an entry. There was a beginning to it, but it went all in one direction. It started in the rear right and ended in the back. It appears to have been rotated during that time.
So one could assume, based off of the directional pattern of the cut, it seems, of the separation of the skull. I do not see where the top portion is. If it slid off in a certain direction, which would be gruesome, it can be assumed that it was either a blade, something that could be made manifested and manipulated by some manner of scientific device. Gas is very unlikely. However, plasma seems more like it.
A new subscriber.
I could go on
Hello
longer about
there.
what plasma actually is, but it looks like this is that other state of matter in which I spoke.
And if it were this plasma, how is it wielded?
It isn't, at least not by any technology here.
Well, how does plasma look? Is it like in a handle?
Very bright. Well, based off of our ability to observe certain spectrums, it would be, I'm assuming, anywhere between what would you call violet to red or pure white in that spectrum.
Shahid has a flashback in his mind.
Okay.
So when they were in the asylum and he was held by that abomination.
Yes.
Just before he almost blacked out and took his first L. And he remembers Renault, when he put down his eyepiece, there was that flashing red that just whizzed by his head and had a searing sound when it just missed him.
Yes.
And he instantly kind of almost like he clocks and you see him like for a minute get lost and snaps out of it. Mr. Renault, like your eyepiece, doesn't that shoot a red flash?
I have not had the equipment nor the courage to actually experiment further with whether or not that did anything, or if
I remember it almost killed me.
My apologies on that. It was unexpected. The other things in the room were also trying to kill us, so I
totally valid.
Yes. However, I do not know if that is based off of a pure light manner, very high and thin wriggle direction, or something of plasma. If it is of plasma, then it could be very malleable depending on the source and how it is distributed.
Renault,
So it is a possibility.
Upon closer examination, as you're talking, you're also like probably multitasking about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one perception check. No, investigation, please.
15.
His feet are at the door. His body is pointed away from the door. His right side is closer to the garden window. That's a little piece of information for you. I also told you that whatever did it went in one direction, as if it came in this way, but then it ended in the back of his head. You begin reconstructing it, and you kind of see something there that might change your mind if it weren't for one possibility. He either, whatever did this, moved, or he moved while it was happening to him.
Like
Who to what? Like a
yeah, like a cat. Yes.
So
there,
yeah,
there.
but it's Renault that needs to convey this info to the party. So
Yeah.
Were there any indentations in the floor? This is very fine and kept together wood flooring. Is it possible that there was something that could have dropped along the time there? Because it could possibly have been an entire device in which it could manage such a cut, although very gruesome.
everyone, give me investigation.
Oh. Ooh, investigate. Oh, I'm proficient.
Investigation 21.
I'm not proficient with the 12.
Okay, Casper.
Also a 21.
Nice, Renault.
I got a 19, but that was the first one. This one is a 13.
So while you're lost in thought, so you're moving on, Renault, you're still talking while as soon as you say, was there any, Shahid and Casper immediately turn around and remember what the body said. Ophelia, the sight of Malave is still somewhat distracting to you.
Yeah.
Shahid and Casper, the two of you can see that there is a runner carpet that goes from the archway leading from the foyer where the door is. And one of you grabs the carpet, and you see a very heavy footprint there in the ground about your size, and then you lift it up more and you can see another one preceding it.
Constable, do you see this?
Yeah, I do. Ms. Moore, you said you had an upstairs tenant that was always thumping about.
Yes, aside from that, he minded his own business.
We got some pretty heavy footfalls here.
Do I hear footsteps? Is it weirdly quiet?
Not oddly. It's late at night. It's close to midnight, so.
Okay.
I can't speak with corpses or tell you anything about plasma, but I can do my job as an investigator well enough. Do you mind if I head upstairs and see if our tenant is there?
Of course, but I wouldn't go alone. I don't know if we should all go, but definitely not just you.
I mean, I'll go up with the good constable if you need some backup.
Okay. Mr. Shahid and I can head up and take a poke about and see what we can find.
Okay.
See if you can get anything else out of the... Well, not
Would you
out.
would you like me to clean up?
I'll help you with that, Renault. We won't dispose of the body yet. Yes, please take your time.
One look at it before we move it, and then let you get to your burial. And I just want to check over the body, see if there's anything anybody missed.
Sure. You...
I'm like checking like all of the things that Casper would have learned to check like as a cop. He's like checking under his fingernails for any like sign of a struggle. He's like seeing if he had anything held in his hand, anything in his pockets, anything that's near the window that he mentioned looking out.
Absolutely. A piece of paper falls out of his still clutched right hand.
Yeah. Pick it up and open it up.
Here's what it says.
Look at you.
I have to embiggen my zoom.
Move it.
Well, this is your camera. This is their camera.
Oh,
so
okay.
first to you.
Before run. Didn't we have that anagram before?
No.
No, we didn't.
Died, marry, the number 4, F-O-U-R, and run. And under that, you see attempts to solve it, to figure out what it is.
Coded message here, it seems. Although this one may have been addressed to Malave. Died, marry, 4, like the number, run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it says on there.
And then that's when, Ophelia, you notice that there is also something on the back of it.
Ooh. What's on the back? What's on the back?
4 more words. Fad, F-A-D, venue, V-E-N-U-E, hush, H-U-S-H, and toy.
Those aren't the words I see. Like,
Yeah, so you take a look at this here, and then Ophelia notices that there's something on the back.
I noticed before you turned it around, there's no I, so it can't be find your murderer like the rest. This is a new one.
Renault, what are you doing during this time? You're muted.
I am moving. I'm kind of just seeing what the hell happened. I walked into this situation kind of like, hey, there's dead body. That's happened to come to the weird light thing, and they mentioned the item, and I'm kind of pondering and investigating to see if this could have been done by something very heavy, what I know as the simulant, looking for signs of something that may have been able to pilot it if it is in the same spot. I don't know because I'm not there, but...
Well, you're going upstairs, right? Okay. So, first off, you notice that the steps that Shahid and Casper uncovered pretty much stop at the door. There's zero evidence that those steps ever came down the stairs. But now that you're at the base of the stairs, you look up, you can see that there is a door that is closed.
Open that up.
You go up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Door is locked.
Not for long. I don't have time to ask permission, so it will be forgiveness later.
Okay.
Let's see. How do I do this? There we go.
At the top of the stairs, you can smell a kind of like a sweet odor in the air.
I'm gonna open this up.
Okay.
I don't know how to do my locksmith kit. My lockpicking kit. I don't know how to do this on here.
Give me a deck save.
That would be a 19.
Okay. It's a fairly rudimentary lock. It's very common for homes and houses. Nothing major. You open it up, and there's a click, click. The door creaks open, and you smell like it's a sticky kind of sweetness which is in the air. And you also hear a snoring. seems to be from the back of the establishment. The door opens up into a room that apparently holds like umbrellas and clothes, or umbrellas and coats on the rack on the side. And then it opens up into an archway that then leads into a living room. And then back over to the left, this would be the same room that is over Ophelia's living room with a shared hearth. The hearth looks like it's been recently used. The living room itself looks very well lived in. You see some silver trays that are kind of stacked up, with one currently still in use with a cold cup of tea half filled on it, along with some half-eaten biscuits. You see the rind or moldy rind of cheese, which is up there as well.
Don't even have to go on any further. I'm going to close this door.
Okay.
Nice and good, and I'm going to lock it.
Okay. All right. Not a problem. With you on the inside, or?
No.
Okay.
With me on the outside.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't clarify that one.
Okay.
Are there any other doorways along this path, or is this it?
No, that's it, man. There are only 2 flats in this whole block, or 2 flats in this house.
Is there something on the roof, a walkway that I could use to climb out?
No, you probably have to go in the back of the house in order to get to any kind of like an outside structure, like a ladder or scaffolding kind of thing, because there's nothing on the sides nor the front of the house.
I think I'm going to go back downstairs and see what everybody else is doing. I'm actually stumped.
Okay.
Well, from an engineer's perspective, I'm stumped.
Gotcha. So, Renault comes back down the stairs, enters into the living room with the rest of you.
Did you find anything?
Nothing of note. I had an assumption of perhaps passage from someone with a device, or somebody having access to the tools that may be the culprit, but it seems that it's only your neighbor upstairs who is definitely sleeping well and has left unsanitarily things about that allow bugs and insects to cause a great deal of illness for him at later time.
What? I'm sorry.
He left food out and tea and sandwiches, and this is not a good environment for festering.
Okay. And you said he was sleeping.
Yes.
Raffo, be aware the players are watching the chat. Don't post it.
I'm not watching the chat.
I'm not either.
I'm always watching this shit. If anyone bullies me, I leave.
Now, aside from your upstairs neighbor, I have no idea how this could have happened outside of the very strange anomalies. Have you investigated your area, looking through the planchette, or perhaps through your mirror? Where is Mr. Shahid? Where is he gone?
I mean, I've looked recently, but not now, at the scene with my planchette, and I'll start to raise it to see if there's anything amiss.
Yeah, you start bringing the wooden object with the crystal center up to your face, and as you do, you notice that the ground itself, typically by this point, as soon as you bring it up, you can, because you're looking at it, you can see it, before you begin looking around this way. The floor looks normal. And when you hold it up, you don't see any spirits in the area. You don't see anything in the area except for you guys.
Like it's all black, like void around?
No, it's like your apartment.
Oh. Everything
but you don't see anything unusual, I should say.
Yeah. Everything looks normal, but that seems to be a little less comforting than I'd like. There's nothing going on here. Shahid, if you'd like to look in your mirror, perhaps?
I was walking up the stairs with.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I was.
Oh,
with
sorry,
my-
dude. Okay.
No, it's okay. I was checking on my kid, so I didn't hear that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Never mind. You said you didn't see anything unusual upstairs, correct? Except for just normal, albeit poor living situation.
That's correct.
I'm going to try something, and I'm going to go where he was and cast Detect Magic.
Okay. You cast it, and you could see the scintillating colors of all of the arcane all around you. It begins to coalesce and alters your eyesight. You definitely recognize that the mirror shard, the planchette itself, and certain other things that you already know about are magical. But you do not notice anything nearby.
Damn. I want to come downstairs. Like, well, you were right. There's nothing strange or unusual. You know, I've never seen my neighbor before. This is very weird. I mean, technically, I haven't. I'm only hearing him, but nope, nothing amiss.
Casper, you're downstairs, I assume?
I was going upstairs with Shahid. I thought.
Okay, so the two of you. All right, Shahid, Casper, just to get it, Renault went in. Did I miss an opportunity for you two to also interact with Renault up there?
I didn't know Renault was going upstairs at all. I thought he was staying
Gotcha.
downstairs with Ophelia to help clean up as Casper and I went upstairs to try to see the neighbor, unless that did not happen.
Gotcha. No. That's fine. So you guys start going upstairs. Renault already came down, so now you guys can go.
Yeah, I guess we know the door's locked. So I'll try to use my thieves' tools to open it this time.
Yep. Give me a deck save.
Where is that? Okay, found it. 14.
The lock itself, I mean, it isn't horrible. It's a standard lock, but it's not easy to do. Maybe a little bit more effort, perhaps, and you might be able to grab it.
Yeah, I'll use my +1.
Okay, you got it. Yeah, a little bit more effort, and it opens. And there is something sweet in the air. Shahid, give me a perception check.
You got it. Perception. That's an 18. I'm going to use my +2 for 20.
Okay, so you are going to get a little bit more information. You recognize exactly what it is. It's like a tar, and it is smoked. It comes from Malave down to the south, from like your neck of the woods. It's not a narcotic or an opioid or anything. It's just a simple, enjoyable, relaxing kind of hash. It gives you a nice little high, but that's about it.
Constable, you smell that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's like a delicacy where I'm from. It's like a smoke. It's almost like a tarry smoke. It's you know what I'm saying? Like it promotes euphoria and calmness and relaxation.
Right.
And I'm gonna walk in.
You can hear a
And
snoring man in the back.
Is it coming behind a locked door?
No. You
He's,
can
like,
hear
right
from
there?
from the back of the flat.
Oh, he's right there.
Yeah, that's so you open up. Coats and hats and other things are on the right hand side. Then there's an archway on your left, which then opens up into the living room space, which then continues over more to the left or towards the front of the house. This is the room that is directly above Ophelia's own living room with a shared hearth. a very thin hallway goes to the back of the house.
Smelling this, seeing the current state that he's in, would I be confident in thinking his ass is not going to be waking up for a while?
Yeah, he's probably out. He's very much out. Yeah.
I'm like, that smell is of a decent quality, Constable. I'm fairly sure that our friend in the back, if we're going to be doing any kind of investigating up here, is going to be out for quite some time.
Look, that works in our favor then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Casper's gonna start looking around that main room.
Okay, so as described previously, there are used silver trays which are stacked up. Each one after it was used simply got stacked up. It looks like he has quite a bit. The last one is still somewhat in use. Tea and saucer, half-filled cold cup of tea, an old cheese rind which is starting to gain some mold, half-eaten biscuits on the same saucer as the teacup. You can see various reading materials, most of which appear to be fashion magazines or what have you. Judging by everything that is around here, this seems to be someone who is who has something to do with clothing. There's also, it's not a particularly well-to-do area in which you are, but you can see that the clothing itself is fairly well made. Might speak of a tailor or a clothier or something along those lines. Overall appearance of the apartment is very well lived in and really nothing that is unusual here.
As we're doing our little investigating, I'm actually going to look by the shoes.
Sure.
Do they all look the same size, or does it look as if there's multiple people that live in here?
Excellent question. They are all the same size.
And if I'm going to walk by it. I'm just going to kind of like place my foot beside it.
It's a larger shoe. It's a larger shoe with larger clothing all around. Yeah. Yeah, this is a larger individual.
And I believe you said that downstairs the footprints were around my size?
The footprints...
Or did you not say?
The heavy footprint...
In the runner.
Yeah, the heavy footprints in the wooden floor that would depress in the wooden floor through the runner. Mm-hmm. Your size.
Yeah, so... This individual is too big. Look at the size of his shoes. And I put my foot beside there to just indicate just how large his foot is in comparison to mine.
There's like a good 1.5 inches on that. Like almost 3 centimeters.
The indentation downstairs was something more akin to my size. I don't think this is our guy.
I think if whatever made that indentation had been living up here, it would have stomped through the floorboards long ago. It managed to put those dents into the floorboards through that runner.
Absolutely. I think it may be just sheer coincidence that this is a rather large gentleman with large feet making noise upstairs.
Wait a second. It's a large gentleman. There's clothes here.
I want to see if I can poke my head into the back room.
Yeah, okay, you do. You find the bedroom. Give me a stealth check at advantage because, you know.
Sure. How do I do that on D&D Beyond?
Oh, so what you would do on D&D Beyond is you would actually right-click on the modifier, and you should be able to see your options.
I click. Nope, that didn't do it with advantage.
So that was a left click.
I did it with right-click first. Can it? So a 20 total.
Okay. Yeah, you're very quiet. At one point, like a floorboard kind of creaks just a little bit, and you freeze, and then the snort just continues. You make your way into the bedroom, and yeah, you can see a very large individual, about 6'5". He has a very rather rotund. The window is open just a little bit. A nice, cool night air, very moist, coming in. There is a hookah resting on a small table alongside his bed, and that contains the tar. And off in the corner, you can see a desk with sewing supplies on it.
Steve, how much like an elephant would you say this man looks?
0.
No, he's not an elephant man?
Not an elephant man.
Damn. All right. There goes my hunch. Well, I gotta creep back out of the room.
Okay. Yeah, you creak out.
Anything?
I thought I had something I didn't, as it turns out. I thought it might have been Mr. Noreous from the Reyes from the Intelligarium.
Yeah, he's a little sus.
Oh, he's big. He's a tailor.
Yeah.
This just seemed to be a particularly large man who is also a tailor.
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor with really thick fingers. Anyway. Come on. If there's nothing
anything,
here,
it
then
just proves that, maybe our elephant man's dream can come true.
Wow.
Big people
As he's
can
saying
be
that-
tailors.
as he's saying that, I'm looking at the windows. Is there any kind of forced entry or anything of that nature up here?
Upstairs?
Where it
No.
could- Yeah.
No.
I'm like kind of specifically seeing if something might have broken in from here and used that as an entry to come in.
It looks like the flat, a very well used flat of someone who has lived there for quite some time and lived there alone. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. All the windows look solid. The original glass is there. You can tell because they went away from leaded glass, but the leaded glass of this building is still there. And so the window looks a little bit warped. So not even windows had to have been recently replaced. Everything looks normal.
And then on the floorboards by the front door, is there any kind of depression similar to the ones that we saw downstairs underneath the runner?
None whatsoever.
Okay. I think we're good here, Constable. We should head back downstairs. They could probably use our assistance.
I think we found everything we're going to find.
Come on.
Okay. You guys managed to get out. While you're leaving, a little bit of your coat kind of bumps into a table. You can see a small china, but you manage to grab it. You put it back up. Not a problem. You exit out. You close the door.
Slam the door behind us.
Well, hell.
Oh, fuck. All right. Well,
No, we don't actually slam the door.
no. Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Oh, well. Okay. Well, you guys managed to make it back downstairs with no results.
Yeah, Shahid walks in, and if I see the others, I'm just gonna simply shake my head. No such luck. That you do have a rather large neighbor upstairs, but judging by the size of his feet and the imprints that was made on this floorboard here, no match. He's way too big to have made such a small indentation.
We're looking for a
Ironically,
much more dense individual. Smaller, but much heavier.
And
I want.
go ahead. No, go.
No, I was just gonna say I want to walk over, Steve, to the spot where the indentation is.
Yeah.
And then I want to look straight up at the ceiling.
Sure. Nothing unusual.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I wanted to do.
I would like to remind the party that I informed Renault that the footsteps seem to go outside. They seem to come from the outside.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna say I want to follow him back the other way because we know they end at the front door.
Right.
But I want to try to follow them the other direction.
They only go in.
They only go in.
Yeah.
Sizzle Kid appeared. That's kind of what I was thinking with the ceiling there. Maybe something appeared and landed where it needed to be. So maybe some kind of I'm gonna try to keep using this phrase until it gets normal to me. Temporal rip kind of appears and somebody stepped out or some things stepped out.
Ew, that's somehow more likely than what I was gonna say, which was some kind of personal flying device.
Or a personal flying device.
I was going to suggest that whatever it did to make these impressions was not permanent. Yeah.
Is it possible that the suspect is not of this time? The way that Renault
What side of town are we on?
East.
Oh, east. I was just thinking about something that the professor told me back at the bar. They told me that there was this metallic being that was seen on the north end of town. And, judging by the weight, I mean, could this be one of those things? Mr. Renault?
Perhaps.
My conclusion on many things is usually based off of things that can be rationalized. However, considering things that we've experienced in the recent week, no, I have no answer for you, and I am completely perturbed by this.
Oh, that's right. Victor just asked, what happened to Otto? So, Otto was Otto was the forgotten NPC. Otto was there the entire time. So, or at least,
Otto, speak up, man!
I'm so sorry. I was standing.
Staying silent through all this shit while we're worrying about this.
It's gotten so late. I'm standing here alongside. I just happened to fall asleep in the corner, standing up over here. I am so sorry. Good God, there's a dead man on the floor.
It's going around.
But don't lose your head.
Okay, that's a little unnecessary.
Is it too soon?
Gallows humor.
I'm so sorry. I was woken.
I thought it was funny.
Oh,
So,
God.
intrepid investigators of the Intelligarium, what have you found out? What have you discovered?
Less than we'd like, really.
Less than you like. I've been out for at least 3 fucking hours over here. Surely you can come up with something.
I can give the best answer, I believe, collectively for full analysis. Apparently, during the time we were not in here, something in some capacity managed to, from not in here, into this place, come behind this gentleman, Malave. Yes, and removed the top portion of his skull using a device that I could only imagine was something related to my tools in where I come from, and exited as swiftly as they did upon entry.
Well, what? So these are the footsteps then, he says as he looks down into the floor.
Yeah,
And he
yes,
kind of
yes.
kneels down feebly, holds his hand out, and there's it's only a minor depression, but it can definitely be noticed, particularly if the candlelight is off on the sides on like low-lying tables, because then it casts shadows of the depression. And so he takes a look at it and he goes, everyone here has noticed that they only go in one direction, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
So where is it?
Well, Shahid thought maybe it was a rift in the ceiling and he just fell out. It wouldn't be the first time somebody jumped out of a rift around us.
Well,
But
how often does that occur, Miss Ophelia?
well, there was the boy at the hospital who jumped out of a rift and ran into the asylum.
Oh, interesting. Did you ever make it heads or tails regarding that small rift jumping boy?
It was Renault's friend, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Oh. This,
And then the other time we saw a temporal rift is when the that beastly entity was coming out of the wall of the asylum.
yes.
And that was in the soul cage.
Okay. Oh, I fear that there is much that. What would you say if you were to supply much of this information to our friends in the Intelligarium directly?
I would like to. I'd also like to lay my associate to rest, unless if his body is needed for research purposes. I don't think he would mind.
I think just his cranium will do. The rest of the body, no, we don't really need that at all.
Oh, God. Would we have to remove the head completely?
Well, that's usually how that works.
I'd rather just take the whole body in that case.
How are we going to transport an entire body in the middle of the city?
You know what? That's a fair point. I don't want any part of the removal of my friend's head. So, however I have a pillowcase.
You have a runner right here that he's laying on.
Yes, but that thing is like longer than you are tall.
Well, if you roll him
Yeah,
in
roll at an angle.
right.
Then you carry a very...
It seems like a cigar.
Like a 6-foot-long cigar being carried through the city streets at midnight?
Speaking as a constable, that'll get us stopped the moment anyone in uniform sees us.
As opposed to a bag.
Yeah. Do we have... I mean, it might be a necessity this morning.
Might I say, I want nothing to do with this. This is very barbaric.
It is. There's an axe in the back that the neighbors use, hatchet, to cut firewood. I am not going to remove my friend's head. Mr. Otto, if you would like to, that's fine.
I just dozed off. I'm afraid of what will happen if I hold on to it. This is gruesome.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do it.
Thank you. I don't know.
This is gruesome.
I would much rather take the whole body under the cover of night.
Maybe we can do that instead. My idea was a horrible one.
I would also much prefer not to do this. But given what happened,
I'm still very much asleep.
The constabulary. I do not want to run into any other constables. I fear that there is a sort of general call for my arrest, or at least my bringing into the constabulary.
And you said that you are now currently employed again.
However briefly that might be, yeah.
But hopefully the conveyance of the deceased through the streets in a rolled up carpet are not going to get you sacked again.
Hold on, just a tick. Didn't you just teleport us all here? Why couldn't we just all carry the body and touch your shoulder and have you...
I'm sorry. Did you say teleport?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Which is also why it's not so unbelievable that this entity can teleport here like you just did with us.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
By what means, scientific or mystical, did you manage to cause such an event to occur? Because if it were mystical, I would argue that it actually was some form of folding of the space-time manipulation that exists when you perceive something and hold that thought into itself and you tear open the fabrics that do that. But that takes a substantial amount of energy. Nonetheless.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
What method did you do to teleport everyone here?
Well, it is. You're asking if it was science or if it was magic. I believe you've already answered your question, because no matter what I provide you, will distill down to science, will it not?
It would.
Well, then you have your answer.
Oh, right. So you understand the very science of it, which would answer several questions based off the source of the murderer of the individual that's laying on the floor here, as well as potentially, if it was completely scientific, that same device that severed the very space-time and fabric to get to a place could be used as a weapon.
I suppose so. You mean the thing that took off Mr. Malave's
Yes, that specifically.
What have you discerned regarding that? You made mention of some kind of piece of equipment that may have done that.
I noticed an old friend of mine in his younger form from a long time ago, as he was using the image, he would place an area and then an opening fissure would appear in the area in which he designated. If that was weaponized, it is possible you could do that on a different state of matter and cause an opening to appear, which would be dangerous.
Did you, you are from the far-flung future, are you not, sir?
Yes, I am.
And you have been discussing multiple times of, he looks down at the footprints in the floor, of these heavy metal men.
The simulants, yes.
Simulant, thank you. Did any come with you?
Well, directly with me, no. But upon observation, I could assume the one that I saw several weeks ago could have either come with me or come at another point in time based off of another form of machination.
I see. Well, when you only have heavy footsteps which do not look like shoe prints, but instead something, well, I can't tell. I see the ball of a foot, I see the heel of a foot, and I see the push off of where the weight would be transferred as the thing moved forward.
For weight distribution for travel, yes.
Yes, normal things, I suppose. And then this, you're saying, I mean, it just seems to me a heavy, large metal man with a piece of equipment that you suggested is the culprit. Yeah. Is that not the case?
That is true. When that would allow us to conclude that it is a place of investigation, depending on what we do here and how quickly it takes, considering it is the dead of night, to investigate a building that has housed this simulant.
You know of us. Keep in mind, I believe this is Otto's first time ever hearing that. You know of the location of one of these things currently in this time?
I do not know if it is still there, but if it is not or it has been disturbed, then as the constable, I believe you say during this period, we have our first suspect.
I feel like people have been saying that since the word suspect was invented. But yeah.
I don't know what it was, but
yeah.
So perhaps we should investigate there. It is a certain workshop that I was asked to work at by a very, how do you say, charitable man. And his assistant or wife, I believe.
Okay. What do you guys want to do?
Follow that lead.
Okay. Anybody disagree or want to do anything before we go there?
I think Casper is mostly just like nodding along with the conversation. He's really looking at the paper that we pulled out of Malave's hand.
Gotcha.
So do something about the body? Oh, what are we gonna do about that?
Yes.
Leave it here? Or?
No, I would really prefer not to leave it here either.
Let's give him a hat and put him in a chair.
Yeah,
for the time being.
I don't think he really fits in hats anymore. All of them might be a little bit too. Sorry.
Is it safe to assume that we do not need the body anymore?
Oh, I would say so. I mean, unless there's some markings of some kind. I mean, have you removed its clothing?
No.
I'm not suggesting that you do that. I'm just asking if you have. I mean, you've done a good amount of investigation
Now that he's saying that, Shahid is gonna kneel by the body and like look at the chest, arms.
So
to
you
see if
give it
there's
a
any. Yeah.
Well, we can wrap that up by saying that you give it a good medical exam. There's nothing there that would suggest foul play. No markings,
Okay.
no tattoos to secretive cults or anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Safe to say no.
we can bury my friend now.
Yes. Yes. Miss Miller.
Sans cranium, please.
So you need his head.
Well, if we would like a little bit more information, we may be able to run some. These are delicious grapes, by the way.
Good Lord. Okay, I'm gonna go into Ophelia's gonna go into the kitchen, grab a meat cleaver, come back, and just chop his head off.
That's
Again?
the way of doing it.
Can I have Constitution saves from everyone, please?
I'm gonna assume that I am working on autopilot and I do not need a Constitution save.
You're fine for now, sure.
I rolled a nat 1.
Oh God!
That's
Renault,
a fat 3.
Renault. You're
Renault
muted.
has an 8.
Okay, Shahid.
13.
Yeah, Shahid.
What did Otto roll?
Otto rolled in a 19.
Where are the okay? So the grapes are staying in there.
Yeah, so he's kind of like, oh.
How about our dwarven buddy? Is he still around?
Oh yeah.
Grunier's friend?
Wait a
Is
second.
he just petrified in the corner?
Wait.
Oh yeah. We have another.
Is Grunnier there?
No,
No,
his
not
buddy,
Grunier, his
the one that we were
friend.
trying
Hold
to
on.
Hello there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. He fucked off.
Yeah, he fucked up. He went up. Okay, yeah. So I got a 13.
Okay.
Okay.
Got 13. Casper or Renault is
I'm gonna gingerly lift up Malay's head to Otto and be like, again, I will grieve at another time, but
Pillowcase, madam. Pillowcase. Decorum.
go get
please.
one in my decorum.
He
Go
reaches
get
over.
it.
He reaches over to the sofa, pulls out a pillow, one of the suede ones, the brocade, unzips it, takes the stuffing out. There you are.
I'm gonna stuff it in there, zip it up, give it to him. I'm taking
the
the knife,
fine brocade.
wiping the knife on my skirts, and I'm gonna grumble on the way out, like, leave it to men to not come up with a proper plan. Just sit there and gobble, 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 and and then yes,
Maybe walking around in a blood-soaked dress is not the wisest move.
it's black, darling. Nobody can see it. Somebody help me bury the body.
There's a garden out back. I noticed.
Yes, I live here. That's where we're burying him.
Shahid walks over to the body, being that he was one of the few people that actually saved on that constitution, to help lift up Malay so we could take him out for a proper burial.
You do. We're leaving it at that. It's raining. Everyone's
Taking the
drenched.
cup.
What are you doing?
Taking the cup of my
Yeah,
image,
yeah,
and I'm gonna
yeah.
pour it in the back of the garden where it will be most useful for soil.
This conversation needs to end right now.
All right.
Fuck.
Welcome to Evandale, everybody.
Oh my God. All right. So, wow.
Okay. So
A good
now
40
we can
minutes
go.
passes or so. It's now like 2 a.m. Let me write that down. 2 a.m. Yes, let us. Good God. And you can see he has a bulge on his side. And he's like, it's like tucked into his belt, but his overcoat is covering the majority of it. Yes, let us go. You guys walk out. You're currently in the East End, so you begin heading west and then south, down towards the Rips. You pass by several children again in the street. Even at this early evening hour, the damp streets are littered with homeless children, shoeless children who are still wearing about 3 generations of used clothing. The place is desperate. Everyone is desperate. Every single step that you take is met with a request for food, because this just might be their last night. A couple of coppers here or silvers there. The guys do make it all the way through. Parents, too tired to even truly nod in thanks, close their eyes and kind of bob their head up and down just a little bit. Their children still have their reserves of energy, but they are depleted. Into the rifts you go. Squalor is its name. Muddy, shitty waters running straight down. You can see rust combined with blood, combined with the remnants of a cat or a rat or something that had to serve as food just in the past 24 hours. You make it into that building that you had been in once before. Enter into the hallway, then you turn left, turn right, and what have you. And then you go down some stairs. And then a stone passage that turns off to the right. You see two gentlemen standing again at the end of the door. Two different gentlemen this time. Otto leading the way towards the door. One of them reaches over. Everyone give me a perception check.
Nice. 21.
I got a 7.
Now that you guys are a little bit more... Renault is still a little bit distracted by the flavor in his mouth.
I also got a 21.
Okay.
I'm got a 7.
Awesome. So, Shahid, you're, okay, a stone passage. You're of an archaeological bent. You're probably trying to figure out where were these stones once purposed, or how were they, etc. Renault, obviously, you're also a little bit distracted. But Ophelia and Casper, the two of you, notice that when the man reaches over to the knob, which is really nothing more than a single handle with like a push-down thing, you know what I'm talking about. There is a... as soon as he touches it. And then he's able to, and then he depresses as if nothing had happened. The door squeaks open after he pushes it. Mr. Otto goes in. So, you guys are in here. Well, what's that?
Nothing.
Okay. He will take you straight towards the laboratories if you allow him. Are you doing anything in particular during this time?
I guess after going in, Otto, does the door always do that?
Door always do what?
Right before he opens it.
They have the door is naturally locked, just not through the usual means. He turns over to Renault, as you would imagine, in ways of heavy science, I suppose.
He is a reader. Something that takes telemetrics that... Oh, well, never mind. I understand, yes.
Otto stops in his steps, like, thunk, puts his cane down, turns around on his heels and looks right at Renault. You, sir, and lifting his cane up and, like, poking very lightly Renault in the shoulder, are correct. However, the mechanism by which it takes place, the reader verifies the identity of the person, but the mechanism of the lock... He turns on his heel and starts walking away.
I believe you meant to say that there's a crystal matrix that identifies the person's spirit signature, as you would call it.
You already called it that. We're beyond that now. Come with me. He continues going down the way. As you enter into some of the more, and you're going through the various offices and the other things that I described previously, for those of us just joining us, tons of laboratories of a pseudo-steampunkish nature, of about that level of tech, along with some heavy arcane weirdness, but rare. You guys branch off and down another hallway, and this stone as well. 2 doors on either side, as well as one down the way. The one door on the right side is metal, a beautiful, polished piece of metal, slightly dull so as to not offend with reflection. It is that one he goes into, and looking back at Mr. Renault, he goes like this. Come. You'll notice no handholds. Mr. Renault, if you don't mind, please open the door. There's no handholds, no handles, no holes. It's just simply a metal wall in a door frame.
Take his hand and put it at the area that would most likely, through ergonomic passage, allow something to identify him, and put his face forward as well in case it is an optic reader.
And you'll notice that the door does not open. And yet, just in one moment, he puts his fingertips on it, and you can see a... and the door... and then slides open. Exact same premise, but the mechanism is hidden directly behind the veneer of metal. I'll teach this to you, if you don't mind. But I'd rather have someone else teach it. I'm only just now beginning to learn these fascinating things. What is revealed beyond, however, is a little bit on the odd side, even for most of you. Renault, you see a laboratory straight out of the 7th Age. You see various components laying around. There are things here that are... you kind of recognize some of it, and in a way, it brings you back home. There's a beeping here and there, and machines that are running down the way. You see a beeping of lights and other things. There's pistons also in other parts, as if they have been slowly upgrading the technology. Steam is slowly released in overhead pipes, but you see complex computer systems as well. You also see what appears to be a navigation system. And sitting in front of that display is a person in a chair, a human, and he looks over, and you see something that looks like an orbiter earbud. An orbiter, orbiter issue earbud in his right ear.
Renault, to everybody else, as he would walk in there, probably assume that he would be elated, but he actually looks very sad.
Aww.
Otto, meanwhile, goes over to another desk, lays the pillowcase very gently out in front of someone who is standing there in a suit. She turns around, lifts it up, puts her hand on it, kind of pulls her hand back for a moment, looks at Renault, looks at Otto, and Otto just kind of pats her on the shoulder and looks down. And she kind of stands up and addresses it with some propriety. He then turns around. The technology is something that had been here previously, Mr. Renault. We've just only now understood how to use certain things. Much of this is non-functional, but we do manage to have a power source for it. I believe you already have seen such a thing.
He reaches into his pocket, grabbing the cube.
Yes, that, my friend. We only have one broken half of that, and it is able to power everything within this room.
So the output is cyclical. Very interesting.
Cyclical? How do you mean, cyclical?
As it is completed, it's assumed that the power source within it, if you manage to, as you say, crack one open and get to the nitty-gritty of it, it holds a certain set of complex cycles within it. The cyclical nature of it allows for energy to be perpetual. Thus,
the woman starts coming from the back. She stops everything that she's doing while Renault is talking. Please continue.
It seems that the initial cycles of how it is originally formed, the energies kind of work perpetually amongst itself. If you said that you have half of it, that means that it is...
Exactly, and it is not depleted whatsoever. This is exactly what I had also discovered.
Yeah.
Sir, yes, absolutely. Mr. Otto, can I have him?
It is also possible, since it is half, that it has a diminished properties. So using it in excess might actually be causing more harm, because if that doesn't have a proper loop
We've
to it,
already
it could be
taken care of
catastrophic.
that. We found out that while the energy that is contained within these things is seemingly infinite, those things that it powers will only draw that which it requires. However, there is no drain from it whatsoever. It appears that there is an interior matrix which simply, when it lined up with itself, continues to replicate itself. As soon as you said cyclical, I absolutely understood everything that you were saying. Yes, it is indeed cyclical. What is more is that it is self-replenishing, almost instantaneous, as if it is simply never depleted.
Something I wanted to actually apply to this specific device, if I ever found one that was also accessible, was something that we came across that was related to crystal technology.
Crystal! Oh, come here, sir. Hey, if you don't mind, what is your name?
Yeah, we're gone. We're gone.
They're in the back.
We're gone. We're gone. That's it. You lost a party member.
Or we gained one.
Gained one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so and he's gone.
We're going to be in Dr. Aureus's office in 20 minutes' time.
He's not listening. No one heard you. We did, though. We'll go, I suppose.
Yes. This way, we'll get our findings in a short amount of time, but I think short amount of time was suddenly just... He looks back and sees him talking, just lengthened. Come.
I follow.
He leads you down and through the hallways, unless there's something that you guys want to nick here or something. I don't want to
nick.
Yeah, like steal.
Something I want to see. What?
I don't know. I'm giving you the opportunity. I don't want to.
What kind of lady do you think Ophelia is?
All right, fine. You end up going down all the hallways.
She's a charlatan, not a thief.
Fine.
I'm an actual cop.
Yeah. All this is evidence.
You guys end up going through hallways, and including that one suspended catwalk where all these machines are going, and the giant gears and other things like that, until finally you do end up coming into that one office area. Looking at the machine, you kind of get a better idea of what it does. It appears to be a generator of some kind, but there's no steam. The steam is there, but that seems to do something else. The power output is of a very different kind. Having said that, you get back into the other hallways until finally you arrive in Dr. Aureus's office. You come in there, and the very large Dr. Aureus is there. Elephant Trunk kind of turns around, picks up a water bottle, and does that while he uses his other two hands in order to... You've returned. How delightful. Please, have a seat. How can I help you? I believe they have some information that we may be very curious to hear about. Well, is this so?
We brought a head. We killed a 300th person for a cult. We saw electric children running through rifts. We found the knife. We returned it. We went to another plane of existence that also had the knife. Renault has his female counterpart over in the other room, so I don't think we'll be seeing him again. We saw Grugnir's friend in Grugnir's apartment. Am I missing anything, gentlemen?
No, I think you covered everything besides the fact that Grugnir's friend is able to mute sounds. So whatever entity or forces are listening to our minds when we're speaking out truths that are not to be heard by the universe, they actually have the capabilities of blocking that out.
Also that there is a entity listening to everything we say and causing selective amnesia in people who talk about the wrong things.
Yes, that's probably the biggest issue at hand.
I see. Well, I'm very curious exactly what you mean by the 300 deaths. Let us start off with the asylum. That was our assignment to you.
Yes, where do we start with that? It shows up in different realities as being open or closed. There's a doctor, Dr. Belfry, who is both dead and alive. The nurses there are sometimes alive and sometimes dead also. There's a hole in the floor that goes to a literal hell where there's wards to ward off demons. And I forgot 24 hours of this, so I'm only just being caught up myself. There were Randy's.
There were demons down below. There was a death cult that was attempting to put together some form of abomination, which was where the 300th soul was needed in order to summon that entity. I'm trying to remember its name. It had chains. What else? The bricks are soul cages. As are the flames. The flames inside are basically the tormented souls of the those imprisoned therein.
When you say cults, what exactly are you referring to? Is this an organization? Like, does it have a name?
Well, they had uniforms. That's for one.
Oh, but what do they look like?
Where's Renault? Didn't he have one of those robes? What was the color of those robes?
I had one as well.
What was the color of the robe that you were wearing?
I'll go fetch him. I'll be back in a little bit. And Otto goes out.
Yes, so they were down there and we killed a lot of them. Turns out they needed just one more. So we gave them one. We don't know what that's going to do or awaken, but someone's happy and someone's unhappy about that.
Why 300? That was Otto. Why 300? Fucking characters. Why 300? And how did you come across this information? Was there a leader or anything?
Yes, sort of like a lead henchman, I suppose. There was a leader, but we didn't kill that one, correct? We killed the slimy man. He told me that.
Oh no, it was the leader. That was the last individual.
Oh, that was the leader. I'm sorry.
Yep,
He was
Yes, when there was stabbed him in
such a small little man. So
and they were I believe there was a distillation of spirits from the dreamland.
Yes.
They were distilling spirits in these vats, and there's like a blue liquid that was going through these tubes.
It looked like they were taking the spirits from the dreamlands and turning them into whatever they're putting in these abominations.
Interesting. The leader, you say you killed the leader?
Yes, I drove a dagger right through his bollocks.
I see. And what was their name?
The leader?
Yes, the man that you killed, undoubtedly you interrogated him.
They never announced themselves.
What? How did the interrogation go?
You didn't hire us to properly interrogate.
He puts his pen down and sits back in his chair. I'm sorry?
I think the name was Scythia? Not the name of the leader, but the entity that they were trying to conjure. Was it Scythia?
Oh, I have no knowledge of that name. I admit I'm very curious. You killed the leader of... What is the cult's name? He picks his pen up in hope.
Unfortunately, they weren't too forthcoming on their names, even though we did try to ask what they were. They just seemed to be denizens of Fallen Shift who felt that they were actually doing this for the greater good of the city.
Of course.
They were saying that we had no idea the troubles that we were causing. Then there was another name like Sybriax.
Sybriax.
Something with tentacles. Because that's what chased us out.
I will investigate that. You mentioned that they had a uniform. What did that look like?
Like robes.
Color?
Were they maybe red, orange?
I think it was like a red or an orange color.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
A-
It's
any-
kind of distracting as I was being skewered through the chest with the scimitar.
A scimitar?
Yeah,
Are you wounded?
I was, but I'm fine now.
Ah, I'm very happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Were there any sigils or symbols that you happen to have noticed?
The wards on the mouth of the hole.
Yes. And Shahid reaches into his jacket and pulls out his black leather-bound grimoire and opens up to a particular page as he approaches the doctor. So right here, I copied down these sigils. It was basically a ward that was encircling the inside of a hole that had a magical darkness placed. So the viewers about 10 to 15 feet above the hole couldn't notice that this wasn't just some kind of bottomless pit. However, this ward was containing the demon therein.
Excellent. Yes.
And then they had some other kind of sigil in order to make some kind of ghostly sounds to, I'm assuming, scare people away from even attempting to do what we did, even though our descent was involuntary. We fell through, frankly.
First off, and most importantly, is anyone here wounded at all?
Not anymore, I don't think.
Very well. Meanwhile, back at Renault, Otto comes in, and there is an almost balancing act of crystals going on between you two. There's like wires dangling down. Mr. Renault, if I may pry, Mr. Renault.
But I was.
Doctor, if you don't mind, can we have our Renault back, please? Yes, I'm dear, but I'm just. But she's.
The notes.
Mr. Renault.
The deltas to the last.
Doctor, let Mr.
Yes.
Renault go. And she like puts stuff down and like. Here, let me just remove this from your head. I'm so sorry, and it's stuck over here.
Fine.
If you don't
I'll replace this. It is fine.
We will discuss over dinner.
Yes, gladly. I like fish sticks.
I have custard.
Oh my god.
I must go before he gets angry.
And Mr. Renault, this way, please. Thank you. I see that you've enjoyed your time. I trust that you will be able to come back this way soon. And he escorts you out down the hall through the machinery and blah blah blah. On the way, did you find it? No, never mind. You remember Dr. Noreous, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Do you happen to have a robe or something like that?
Yes, it was of the cultists.
He's now standing in front of the office door. Would you mind presenting it?
I would have to go a great distance as it is in Miss Moore's home.
Oh, you do not have it with you?
No, I do not. We decided that it was be best placed in a safe spot and not carrying in public streets with a cultist rope in case we were stopped.
Yes, of course. All right then. And he opens up the door. So, wards and demon circles that manage to keep things out. And you were saying, Shahid, that the ward actually succeeded at one point.
It succeeded completely.
Yes.
It was actually, I'm assuming, what contained it originally, or else these individuals wanted to put it up to begin with. Yet, when we passed through, I did realize that there was a tentacle that attempted to grab at us as we parted, but it quickly pulled itself back.
And that is the Sibriax thing that you mentioned.
I'm assuming so, because that was the name in which it was being called.
I understand.
Also, I do have a question, and maybe you could answer this for us.
Yeah.
And Shahid kind of like leans in. Some of our party members have lost some time, especially when going through this particular passageway or certain spots within Fallen Drift. Do you think there's something in particular triggering this, or?
Indeed. Miss Moore, you made mention of 24-hour span that you had forgotten.
And he turns back to Shahid.
We also have noticed this amongst our ranks, myself included. Entire day will disappear. What we've been able to come up with is there are certain words that when spoken, this may occur, but it is not always. It seems to be hinged on the amount of information tied to that word. So it is not like a passcode or a trigger, but rather...
I don't think it's so much a word as much as it's an ideology.
Oh, how so? How do you mean?
So he looks at all of his friends kind of like in like a almost like knowing fashion, and he sees the wave and he kind of gives a knowing nod and
do you have the robe? No, says Otto. Please.
Oh, yes. So every time an individual either speaks or thinks about the fact that memory is being lost, we've realized that a lot of people have then lost 24 hours of time. It almost seems as if the acknowledgement of the time lost is almost creating like this paradox, where you continue losing time every time you think about losing time, and until you forget the fact that you care about losing anything.
If you discuss time, the particulars of it, this is when you say that you lose time?
Yes. At least, and he kind of looks around. It had a way different feel when I made this statement topside. Just how far down are we?
What would you say?
Approximately about 90 feet.
Maybe it's silenced us, the earth around us.
And it could have had something to do with the fact that I tried to repair it to see if I could develop a matrix to replicate it in order to hold back whatever it was intended for in the first place.
Aureus is looking at you, not looking at Renault, not understanding anything that Renault just said.
What did you just try to repair?
There was a portion of the floor when we were in direct observation of it that I assumed that once we had a proper understanding of the seal's design, that it could be replicated, perhaps to strengthen the seal. And as I put it together, the anomaly occurred.
He looks over at Shahid.
What is he referring to? Recreating what? This anomaly of time?
I believe he means recreating the anomaly of losing time.
Ah, I see.
Now, the two particular instances that I'm referencing, unfortunately, I wasn't attempting to mend anything, save for my thoughts.
I see. You were trying to mend thoughts, and then the last conversation...
We were trying to put together what was happening, and as I stated this, I felt that pull twice. One time was on accident. The second time, I intentionally attempted to trigger said feeling, and it worked.
Really?
Or nearly did, but I was brought back actually by Grungnir's friend.
Grungnir's friend?
Yes, Mr. Otto met him.
This is the one that had the ability to, and he references his notes, silence or to prevent that? Is that
a new subscriber. Yes. Hello there.
Yeah, Dear Philum, Onyx Mantle, his name was? Or is, right?
Yes, Mantle was...
Theophilum, something along those lines. Real cheerful guy.
I do not have anyone by that name. Very well.
I mean, he didn't come this way?
No. What should he have?
Well, that's why we introduced him to Otto.
Otto, you remember him, don't you?
I do, yes. This is one of the... will you pardon us, Noreous? Yes, but I have many questions. We will be back in a moment, I assure you. Very well.
Mr. Otto?
My friends, come. He walks outside and down the hall just a little bit, standing pretty much in the hallway itself, and then with a heavy sigh and crossed arms, his cane holding or touching the ground beneath. Dr. Noreous is one of those who had been affected by it as well. Therefore, it is not the earth that protects. 90 feet down or not, this effect can happen to everyone. It's happened to me. It's happened to most people here at one point or another. Most interesting, though, I have something that I would like to show you that may lend some assistance, but I do have one question to ask. Regarding this cult under the asylum, it was, yes?
Yes.
We have no name. We have a red or orange robes. We don't know who ran it, and no inquiry was made. May I suggest in the future that we get a little bit more information so that we do not deplete our resources in speaking with the dead? We will have to go down there and acquire their bodies to be able to ask these questions. I apologize.
I'm sorry, are you asking us to be more thorough while we're being attacked by cultists? I just want to make sure I'm understanding like what my responsibilities are after the scimitar exits my vertebrae. I'm just trying to get that baseline between us so I know where our relationship is, because I'm really not understanding what the Intelligarium wants of us, where every time we need them, we have to summon you, and then it seems like you're still 4 steps behind us. But you've been doing this before us. This is like a total layout of my cards are kind of face up, because at this point I feel as if
Casper lost his job.
I got it back though.
Oh.
Maybe for a little bit.
I understand the qualm in which you find yourself. We do not have any information of anything down there. You can understand the curiosity that comes when someone like yourself, who has encountered it firsthand, explains the things that you have. You also understand that by eradicating a leader, that we cannot possibly gain information about whatever it was that they were doing, unless, of course, they left books behind or writings, and then we have to engage in supernatural means. Thankfully, these means do exist. So I can understand your frustration with everything. But this is also the very reason why we requested your assistance in the first place, was to investigate what was going on in the asylum. Now, you've given us a fantastic amount of information, and under no circumstances do I want to cause another situation where you will be run through with a sword to the point of vertebrae. I am happy, however, to see that you are very much alive.
Or grabbed by an abomination and almost ate. See, now, I guess my question is starting to become, what exactly is it that the Intelligarium does? Because you see, it comes to my understanding that you say we're not the first, let alone the only, as you put it, untimely heroes. So it seems as if the only thing untimely is the aid of the Intelligarium when we need them. I'm trying to understand, at what point are we supposed to pause and investigate, and at what point are we supposed to protect ourselves as the ones who are attempting to find our murderers?
The Intelligarium is a gathering of people who are exactly like yourselves. All of us are to find our murderer. Number one. Number two, you are not just like everyone else. You have all already died. We have yet to encounter that death. Number three, what it is that we do is that we collect the information that the agents above gather, and then we attempt to, in some sickly fashion, try to put it all together so that we can then supply you with better information. But that only works when you have an input of information. So the information that we currently have is fuck all, because the thing that is causing all of this memory loss also causes a loss of the very information. We have been instructing our agents up there in the streets to stay up there and not to come back because of that very effect that has affected Noreous, Moore, Mr. Jephcots, myself, and everyone else here. The moment you discover something, it is gone. So believe me, sir, I completely understand where your frustration comes from.
Mr. Ori, and Renault is just going to reach in to his bag and bring out the slip of paper that I did when I originally did the mending spell at the bottom of the asylum, annotating the exact outline of the ritual circle that I mended because you asked me to do the roll for it.
Yeah.
Is this something that would help, considering I have yet to have my memory removed at all? And is this something that would help, considering that Mr. Shahid has lost a substantial amount of blood in order to get some bit of information?
What the fuck is that? Hold up.
Oh my god.
That was awful. Is it gone on your end?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have no idea what the hell that was. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. That was weird.
All right.
I guess I shouldn't put
Everyone
very
away.
strange things on your desk.
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Cube
Renault.
out of here.
Causing spiritual feedback.
Oh my god.
I would say that piece of information is extremely valuable. Yes, I would say it is. And yeah, this is something that we can use. This is exactly what we need.
Shahid pulls out his grimoire and opens up to the page with a triangle with a dot in the center and just gestures it out to Ada. This?
That's a sigil. Where was it
She
found?
flipped. Excuse me?
Where was it found?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Tabulary, we saw it on the sort of, the ledger on the desk. And then I went in to talk to my captain. He had quite a few papers with that symbol drawn on it. When I pointed it out, asked what it was, he covered it up. And then minutes later, he was rousing the whole constabulary to go look for me.
So you think did that symbol also exist amongst the cultists?
I didn't notice it if it
I
didn't.
didn't see
notice
it.
any kind of sigils with the cultists when we were
So then
we were down there.
It is. So they're very well protected. They don't leave much information behind.
So this is the first time that the Intelligarium has seen the triangle with the dot in the middle?
Not that one, no. And we have seen that. But we have not yet been able to find out exactly where it has been.
Shahid then flips the page and shows the star with the elongated top.
Otto stares at that, and his eyes drift off in memory. It's been a very long time since I've seen that. I have seen that, and I can guarantee that we have something on that because I wrote it. That is a cult that existed a very long time ago. How much do you know about it, and how much do you want to know?
I would like to know a great deal. I'm sure Mr. Shahid, considering the historian levels of intelligence that you've acquired throughout your many years on this plane, would also like to know.
Well,
Absolutely.
very simply put, well, shall we go to my office rather than be in this hallway? I might be able to supply you with actual documentation.
That would be wonderful.
One moment. He starts heading off, or he heads back to Dr. Aureus's office, opens up the door, and you clearly overhear him. I'm going to take them into my office in order for us to collect all the information. In the meantime, I'll get you some answers on that other matter that we were discussing previously. Yes, all right, fine. And then the door shuts. Right. Shall we? Back down through some hallways and what have you. This is a little bit of a more comfy thing, and it seems to be an office made out of an earlier time. You see, like, oil lamps laying around, and most of them have started to collect dust. And Shahid, you absolutely recognize that there are artifacts in this place that come mainly from northern Erenal, north central Erenal, like around the Kulturak area and what have you. You also see some things that come from way out west in Avirial. So there are a few things here that he has collected, and they are displayed and with some reverence. So, yes, please, here, have a seat. He does not sit behind his desk. Instead, he goes around and he collects a series of papers and books and other things, and then puts it down on a central table, sits on one side of the table, and you guys kind of like around a coffee table. Everyone can now sit there. So, that is the Creed of Star. Symbol of the Creed of Star, something that we have seen here just recently. Seems to be more of a resurgence every now and then, every decade or so. There's always someone that goes off and discovers new symbols from the past and then tries to recreate it as part of the fad of the occult, as it is within the city.
Did you say every 10 years?
Roughly. It's just more to the point that as new people gain curiosity outside of their home elements, they will go off and they will find new things. Mostly the wealthy. They have the time in order to invest themselves in such things. Thankfully, most of them are useless. They simply do not have an understanding of the very things that they meddle with. We are quite lucky in that their ignorance stops exactly when it should, and that is discovering the truth of the matter. As for the triangle with the dot, that seems to be more of a call to arms, something that we have seen in various places. Paint, whether it be paint or pig's blood or something else. We've not been able to put together any kind of a correlation between the color of paint or the manner of the medium, just rather that a symbol. And then
I'm sorry, you said a call of arms, such as the individuals who would be leaving these markings behind are doing so to instruct, for the lack of better phrases, like a sleeper cell to activate?
Oh, that is precisely it. Yes, that is precisely it. There is something that we have been able to find. We stood atop the roofs one particularly cold evening, and I shan't forget it, bundled up as we were. Those that came together under that particular sigil met in an alleyway. The sigil itself was no larger than the palm of my hand, and was painted in a paint the same color as the brick, barely noticeable, but one of ours. And
you're a part of the group that answers the call to disarms?
On occasion. We all do. The Aureus tends to stay below because of his appearance. He does not wish to undergo any sort of a
all of
disguise.
Us as in the Intelligere?
Yes, but when the memory loss is too great, we keep them down here so that they are no longer alone when it occurs again. This is why, Mr. Shahid, we do not have too many up there in the streets. We are battling something incredibly unseen, a hand that is constantly wrapped around our neck, and yet we never feel it. It is a silent and deadly killer. It goes around and it removes the most valuable thing that we have. For some here, a sense of self, completely eradicating who they once were. 24 hours is the minimum amount of time, and the amount of time that most of us have experienced. Others have not been so fortunate. We have seen decades disappear to the point of shattered identities. They may remember the time that they were a child, and here they are, a human in their 20s. They remember going to meeting a headmaster, and that was the last thing, and now all of a sudden they find themselves, imagine, looking at your face and seeing 10 years added on in the blink of an eye. Many people here in the Intelligarium are that sort. So, Mr. Shahid...
Or lost?
What's that, sir?
Or younger?
Oh, yes. Does not seem to have any sort of... We have not seen children affected by this.
Oh, no, I meant loss of age.
No loss of age, no. Time inextricably continues forward and renders our body useless at the end of its lifespan, thanks to Thea. This is the way it should be. However, the Intelligarium, sir, is a collection of people who have nothing left to lose, and therefore they are trying to gain each of those lost years back through research. And sometimes we do not even know what any of that research means.
So I might interject,
Mm.
just to offer a bit of a hopeful message, because things are getting quite grim, and part of growing up in the Rips, you learn that when things are at their worst, you do have to look hardest for the good, even if that is just, another day survived. I think whatever's doing this is something that can be killed, stopped. It has a heartbeat.
Yes.
I heard it.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, it has a heartbeat.
I think so, yeah.
You mean to tell me? You mean to say that the thing that is doing this is a singular individual?
I think it is. Yeah. Because it was right after I had met you guys. We were at Miss Moore's place. I was just trying to listen to see if there was anybody coming out or coming up to the house, and I told you this earlier. I heard this heartbeat. It got the feeling of something that was listening in on every single conversation throughout the city.
I apologize. I do not remember that conversation.
No, I don't think I told it to you.
Oh, thank goodness.
I think just Miss Moore and Mr. Shahid.
Yes, and I heard a whisper, louder than the other whispers.
Other whispers?
Yes, there's a blanket sort of hum of the city that you can hear. Or I did. And there's one particular sound that sounds like a louder whisper. It was unintelligible, but still there.
I see.
If we can assume that it's the same owner as the heartbeat.
This is unknown. It is very disturbing to me, however, that this might be one thing. Because that means then that one thing has a manner of power behind it that many of us cannot even fathom.
Yes, and perhaps that one thing is what is causing the town to forget. It's listening. If it has a heartbeat and it's speaking, and we can't speak our secrets, and that means it also has ears.
What? You said speak your secrets.
No, don't do that.
Is that a piece? Is that an adage or a bit of wisdom that you had come across, or was that just a mere saying of your own?
That was a message that was written on a card, correct? In the park.
It was the card that we found in Ludgrave by the fountain.
Mr. Gaspar has it. Do you not?
What? Say again?
Casper has the card, do you not?
I think I do. And I kind of pat around my pockets, pull it out.
Yeah. And it's on. This was the business card found at the fountain?
This is the one that the constables are trying to cover up.
And it said, do not speak your secrets?
Yep. On the back of the card of Mycroft's.
Where were you when you got that card, if I may ask?
Ludgrave Park.
Right at the fountain.
Getting where Grognier's body appeared.
The constables were trying to hide that card from our sight. I negotiated for them not to. And then I believe that Mr. Renault recovered it and passed it on to the good constable.
There is someone within our walls here that had that on them. They underwent the same thing. They do not recall how or why. We found them, rather, the constable found them quite wounded, slashed throat, but it was done hastily, thank goodness. The individual had such a card on them. When the hospital was able to release them, it was then discovered that they had a poor memory of events. Of course, being tuned into such things, we had heard about it from our own staff on that hospital, and we took him in. That individual had the same "Do not speak your secrets" was on the back of a piece of paper, and on the other side was a triangle with two concentric circles in the middle. That individual was found on the steps of the asylum. Now that you have something that points it towards Mycroft, I'm very curious about the Wickmore Night School.
That is the first I'm hearing of this.
It is a college, but not your ordinary college.
Learning establishment.
This I have here. Yes. Society of the Faded Quill. Should you come across any members of the Society of the Faded Quill, they're actually good chaps. They will perform poetry for you, and very often hold what they call jams, but I do not understand the reference. Here it is. The Wickmore College, a.k.a. the Wickmore Night School. It appears to be an underground series of classes of the occult. As I had mentioned, there are some who will enter into practice or study with their friends after they come across some reference, some obscure reference to something, and then they completely take it out of context. But then they study. All of the students, according to this gentleman, this person is now one of us, are masked, and their identities are never known. And all of them meet in the bottom of the asylum. Now, we have been in the asylum, and we have not come across the additional layers that you had come across. But that should not become a surprise to any. it would seem many of us are unable to get past the walls or whatever it is that you see. This is now, I'm getting on in years, so my time out there in the field is a little bit not frequent. So I've not been out there recently to oversee such things, but the sigils that you describe, did you come across any others by any chance?
Upon that word, Shahid flips to the last page and shows a sigil that looks like the number 4 with the tail in the back end.
He etches it all out, and do you have any others by any chance? Anything else?
Sigil, there was a star, there was the triangle. Oh, and there was like a half circle with a dot.
Huh. Would you be able to illustrate these for me? And he hands you a pen and paper.
I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, white balance.
Right. Yeah, white. I can't do it. It looks like a number 4 like this with a tail. And
You're using illusory
like
script
with a dot.
Yeah, that
That
one.
would be the number 4. And then if it's the same page that you used before, it's the with a dot. It's like a circle like this. That's it.
That one is that is most interesting. It's actually missing a little bit of something. If it is what they think it is, if we were to turn this one upside down and add another dot down here, then that would be a symbol of an ancient deity, one by the name of Serethid, as it was known. Worship of Serethid had fallen over the past several centuries, but those that are seeking knowledge, occult knowledge, seem to flock towards that. A reference in a book that we have found in a child's study book. What do you call them? Bookcase. The thing that they carry on them. Over in Hightown. I'm sorry?
A backpack?
Backpack. But in the hands.
Briefcase.
Yeah, so something like that. But either way, child carrying this to school, Hightown, yes? Well, as I have said, the wealthy of Fallen Drift all have the time to study these things, and this now includes their children. Wanted to show this off. Comes across an obscure reference to Serethid, a deity of shadows and occult knowledge and hidden treasures. Everyone in Fallen Drift is so busy seeking out the very treasures of the world that they completely forget that there are some here within Fallen Drift in the form of knowledge. But those who are keen will study the ancient text and think that they've learned something, and in fact, they've only learned our prior interpretation of it. The point that I'm trying to get to is that these bloody fools have not a clue of what it is that they are doing. Serethid hasn't been heard from in a very long time. I'd love to meet a priest of Serethid. But Serethid itself never had any followers who would do harm to someone else. They had believed at that time that you had to work for the knowledge, and then finally, once the labor had been put in, that the knowledge would then be imparted. As for the triangle and the circle, I am almost positive that is the symbol of the Wickmore Night School.
Time and place that seems to have done away with their need for gods and worship. We are running across a startling number of references and symbols of ancient deities.
Well, with all due respect, Constable, the only reason why you consider it odd is because you've not been privy to this information in the past. It's always existed. It's existed in Fallen Drift at least for the past 150 years. That's many lifespans of a human.
What of the comparative portions of the seal that I had illustrated? Is it something that can be deciphered to benefit the Intelligarium or even us in concluding our very seemingly morbid journey that we have ahead of us.
Now, just to remind everyone, the circle that you had put back together, can you tell us exactly where that was found?
At the outside, when we went to the basement of the asylum, there was a broken section of the hole of the pit, and what I did was when I used the mending spell to put the whole seal together to kind of get an illustration of what the rune looked like, so we could do that one specifically.
And so so you're referring to what you created, not what was found.
No, what was found, because once I put it back together, I was able to see what the seal was.
That's right. Okay, thank you.
That I would be very cautious I caution myself to jump to conclusions as to its exact nature. But hold on. Yes, my God has given me a little bit more information. So it would seem that there is a sense of finality with that one. As in the hole that you described, Mr. Shahid, the one that had the sigils around the inside of it.
Yes.
That kept away the demons, you say.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you had reconstructed seems to have been something of a protectorate of souls, as if to keep the things that were above the sigil, namely the asylum proper and its basement, away from those things that resided within down below.
Right.
And that thing now having been... Is it complete now, Mr. Renault?
I believe so, and then we had to go through our ordeal with passing through.
Yeah, it grabbed me by the spine and pulled me into hell.
Wait, I'm sorry? Was this before or after that sigil that Mr. Renault mended?
Immediately after.
It was immediately after. Something reached through and began to pull you through?
Not began to. It reached through, I felt it grab around my spine, and it pulled me through the hole.
Physically?
Bodily, yeah.
Something reached into your body, created a hole in which its hand now...
No. It didn't physically grab me, but it did physically pull me. I wasn't compelled to walk into the hole, but I felt it all.
Your corpus was instructed, grabbed, possessed.
It's hard to describe because it's the only time something like this has happened to me. Yeah.
Oh, good, and I hope it never happens again. Mr. Renault, are you certain that thing is now complete?
I'm relatively sure, yes.
And he turns back to the constable.
Did you go down to that hell?
Yeah. It pulled me in. It was a lot stronger than I was.
And what did you witness?
It's not, I don't really recall much beyond the just initial grab and then coming to beneath it.
Do you remember voices, whispers, faces of the denizens within?
I remember whispering.
What were they saying?
I'm trying to remember.
While you work on that, the rest of you, did you happen to see this assault on Mr. Jephcots' body?
I didn't really make note of it as it was happening. I believe it was happening through a whole bunch of turmoil as, unfortunately, Mr. Jephcots was pulled.
I understand, of course. That is worthy of some note, but I'm very curious, Mr. Jephcots. if you were grabbed by something external or if you were compulsed to return.
It felt like I was grabbed.
This is what it would be like when you possess a fantastic amount of will and you do not wish to go. Your friend, Ms. Moore, the one that you say was Grongnir's associate, you said that he had the ability to stifle the sounds or something. Can you go into a little bit more information about that, please?
Yes, we had tracked down Grognir's apartment, and there was a good bit of magic happening around, just sort of existing. And he warned us not to say anything because something was always listening, and he created a vacuum in a way where nothing could be heard outside of it. We were safe within the confines of his magic.
Are you able to get him back? Do you know where he's gone off to?
Oh, he's fucked off. I don't know where he is, but I'm sure we could find him again.
I'd be most curious to speak with him. Mr.
He's not of this time.
Where is he from?
I'm not actually quite sure, but he did state that he's from somewhere else, and so far our track record has been somewhen else.
I see. Very curious of the kind of thing he can do, because if we can get our hands on that kind of knowledge, then all of us could potentially be saved.
And I'm sorry, when you say Wickmore Night School, yes?
Yes.
Do you mean the proprietary school in the Old Bailey district?
The proprietary school?
Yes.
The Wickmore Night School, as we understand it, comes out of Wickmore College. Well, it is a college unto itself, but it's a night school. They all hold, or rather, all don masks to protect their identity, and nothing in the Old Bailey district that does that, to my knowledge.
Well, there's the School of Medicine, and Ewan Mycroft is the headmaster. So I thought maybe there was some sort of connection.
Wait, I apologize. What is the name of that college?
I've only passed by once or twice. I believe it's the Wickmore Proprietary School of Medicine. It's in the large courtyard below Crown Flats. I've had to cross through there for a few jobs.
And he turns to Shahid. And that symbol was on the back of Wickmore's business card.
On the back of Mycroft's.
No. That saying was on the back.
The saying was on the back of Mycroft's card.
And I have it. Are you aware, Constable, are you aware, make a history check with advantage, of any missing students from the medical facilities? Has anything like that happened? What do you got, bud?
Yeah, 16.
That's with advantage?
That's with advantage, yeah.
There have been a couple of cases that people have complained about, but by and large, they've been completely swept under the rug.
There's been a couple, but every time we start digging into them, they get reassigned into non-investigation.
What do you all make of this? Missing students from the Wickmore College of Medicine, then the Wickmore Night School. We do not understand what it is that they do, but we believe that they come together to study occult practices. Mycroft his dagger goes missing, falls into the hands of some folks who need to sacrifice 300 souls. There's a blue ichor, I believe you mentioned, also there in the office. What do you make of all of this?
I do not know. However, I have been dwelling on the things I was discussing with your doctor. I didn't even catch her name. But we also have what you would call an automaton that may be capable of ending a life instantaneously that was in Miss Moore's residence and killed one of us as well.
That's right. There is that thing you call the simulant, and you know where one is.
Yes, there's a workshop I was asked to be employed, but I do not know really where.
Do you know the name of this workshop?
I do not. I cannot recall at this very moment.
I understand. But you can take us there.
Oh, yes, I remember the way. It's right next to one of the little soup kitchens that I helped aid at.
Well, then if you... What kind of building is it?
It looks to be a type of factory. I know it more so as a workshop, but that's because when I didn't necessarily break in. It was an easy passage to go in, and it was late at night.
You remember it was Wheeler Industries.
Yeah. There was a name that Wheeler Industries.
Well, I have some information then I would like to get to the bottom of. You are all more than welcome to stay here for a period of time if you so wish.
I would.
To nap if you want.
Oh.
But I admit my curiosity is extremely piqued. I would love to go see this Wheeler Industries. And it's not a simulant, you say?
Yes, it was under the cover of like a prototype. You don't know what that. Do you know what that is?
A prototype, yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. There was a covering that it looked as if it was meant to be unveiled. However, this was quite some time ago, and I probably should have mentioned it sooner. But I did not know what was going on at all at the time when I originally arrived here, and a great deal of time passed, and all manner of knowledge has unlocked in my synapses, allowing me to do things that are somewhat improbable, but nonetheless.
So you forgot?
I forgot to mention.
Yes, very well. Well, in which case, it's getting on in the evening hours. If you require a rest here, I can show you over to the bedrooms.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
That'd be wonderful.
Yes, yes, please, come this way.
Rubbing his eyes, he stands up, grabs his cane. Yes?
Oh, the doctor. The light is still on in the little office there. I would like to complete our conversation. We had discussed the proper endpoints of what would be classified as quantum theory, and I think it would help a lot with understanding how we are continuously losing bits of our memory because we can't hold our understanding because it doesn't follow through in the same energy waves when we pass through any of the temporal anomalies. And when that happens, if we can...
Dr. Marguerite Teague is the name that you're looking for.
Marguerite.
Marguerite Teague. It is her last name, the family name, is spelled Teague. First name, I'm sure you can spell Marguerite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where, just for logistical reasons, where would her quarters roughly direction be? About this direction? That direction?
I believe that Dr. Teague would be able to tell that to Renault.
Yes, he would have to find her first. Where would he find her?
Probably back at the laboratory.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I tried.
I just
What a wing person! Like shout out.
what a total fucking wing person. That was awesome. That was awesome. The three of you. Please follow me. You get taken down some various hallways. You've seen them before. They're just
As Otto is like pulling us away, I want to grab like Shahid on the way out and just a few steps back and go.
Do you think it was weird that Otto said he wanted to meet Theophilim?
Yes. Especially being that he was so intrigued of the fact that he was able to do these magics, and now he's acting as if he had no idea. This is why I've been acting a little perturbed. I'm glad that you were able to pick up on it, Constable. Then again, if anybody were going to pick up on my quirks, it would be you.
I think we should do more written communication in the future.
And Shahid in your head says, or this.
And I'm going to say in your head also, this works too.
awesome.
Do I have to talk, or can I just think?
I'm gonna
just
say,
look at you and smirk and just go. And just start walking forward.
Just very slow, like deliberate thinking.
I'm gonna say the high five sound in my head to you.
I don't like this, but it's better than talking out loud. I'm a very visual thinker, so if any images get through, just ignore them.
Okay.
Okay.
He leads you back over to the bedroom. You see a series of chambers that are rather generic. There are locks, but they will lock from the inside, so it's completely up to you as to whether or not you want. There are more available than there should be, perhaps, because you can see like there's a dozen of these things, and but none of them are really occupied right now. There's like one that kind of has somebody's stuff in it, but they're not even in there. So with that, he says, "Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go catch some sleep as well. I'm not too far off. I'm straight down the hall. You'll see it actually has my name next to it. I'm tired, and I'm very curious, and I don't want to allow time to pass so much that the chance of catching up with a simulant is missed. But perhaps after a wink or three, yes?"
Absolutely.
Very well. I bid you all a good night.
Good night, good sir.
Thank you, sir. And with that, he goes down the hall and turns left and heads away. Guys, is it okay if we take a quick 5 minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes or so. We'll be right back.
righty, guys, we are back. We had thank you for letting us take a quick break. Okay, let's just get right into it. Several hours passed. However, how much time actually passes? Short rest or long rest?
Long rest.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got those spell slots.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. So we're looking at a total of about 8 hours or so, plus an additional hour to do your thing. If that is still a thing. So
I'm an elf. Pick your poison.
yeah. Okay, cool. All right, you got it.
Yeah, I'm a rogue who wasn't hurt, so.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Your levels are a little bit low, guys. Okay, there we are. Alrighty, so we are back. Upon waking, after about 8 hours or so, you find yourselves there. However, the bed is wet, mainly from right around in the torso area. Your clothing is equally damp. Each of you had apparently broken out into a fever or a sweat or something over the course of the night. While you feel rested, there is an uneasy feeling that you were not alone while you were resting. If you had locked your door, the lock was still there. If you had put up any tripwires or any put up a desk in front of it, in front of the door, all of that remains. There are no signs of intrusion whatsoever. But as you wake and start to gather your senses, the feeling of having been watched slowly dissipates, as if the entire thing were a nightmare. You guys can take it from here.
I'm
Okay.
Wait, did we all share a room?
It's safe to say that after everyone wakes up, you can meet in the hall and discuss.
Oh, okay. I feel like I've slept for ages and not at all at the same time.
Definitely not the most restful 8 I've ever gotten.
Renault, are you okay?
No. I am bordering dehydration because it seems that I've lost perspiration. A great deal of it in my sleep.
Yes, my trance was uneasy as well.
Perhaps it's because we're so far underground.
Possibly very worked up from the conversations that we had.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot
I did have
possibilities. We could just be, run down from the honestly hellish week we've had. But
You hear footsteps coming down the hallway, along with the tapping of a cane.
Good morning, Otto.
He comes around the hallway. Oh, good lord. My presence is already announced, apparently. What gave it away?
The cane.
And
The three-legged trot.
In the subsequent footsteps, you have a very signature sound effect as you echo throughout your corridors.
Yes. You can see he is wearing a fresh set of clothes. However, he has more bags under his eyes.
Uneasy rest as well.
As well. Yes. I fear it is much worse. Though the information that you have, and he reaches into his coat pocket, that you supplied is of most great use. I may have an answer for you upon your return, but if I may ask, I believe it is simulant time.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Now?
after breakfast, of course, if you wish.
Oh, yes, I am only human, so I'd like to eat.
Yes, of course. I apologize. These past few days, my brain has been all over the place. I've been forgetting to breathe. Yes, I can show you where the commissary is.
Please.
Oh, yes. This way. And with a little bit of pep in his step, he got some sleep. You managed to find yourself into a place where it's actually rather busy. There are some people that are like, most of them have already, like, they're starting to clean up and what have you, and there's somebody there who's, like, picking up. And you see, like, metal lunch trays all being collected and stuff, and most of them are already together. So you do have the ability to discuss things in private if you want. Having said that, breakfast is served, and it's actually not all that bad. I mean, tea is had. There are some various fruits and berries. There are some nuts that have been collected, some local nuts, and some kind of like a dairy mix that is akin to yogurt. It has a nice little sharp bite to it, and it's a little bit thicker. So I guess like Icelandic yogurt, like skyr.
Lapsy.
Sure. Yeah. Perfect. What's up?
Is Marguerite Teague there?
Marguerite Teague is not. Well, hold on. Renault, is Marguerite Teague there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna tap his shoulder and be like, Renault, that's your friend.
Wait a second. Let's establish one other thing. Where, Renault, is Marguerite Teague?
In
Girl town.
Probably getting breakfast like we discussed, since we couldn't get something to eat because she was hungry last night.
So she came down the hallway with you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, when you say,
That's
oh, look,
none of
it's
my
your friend,
business.
you're literally pointing to the person standing next to him.
Oh, if she was there, I wouldn't have said that. Shit. Okay,
You might not have noticed.
I'm gonna like hit Shahid and Casper's shoulders and like point like to Marguerite behind. Yeah.
Not yet. Now there's two of them.
And I look at Ophelia and I shrug and I go, doctors.
I'm glad he found someone that will go at his speed.
She's gone off. She's gotten a tray or two, and then comes back, hands one back to Renault, and she kind of like sidles up next to him, and starts describing the metal and the alignment of the crystals within this and how it was forged and the matrix which is there, which allows this thing to be. And she turns around and goes like, bang, bang! See, it cannot be. Meanwhile, everyone is just like, ah, what the fuck was that?
Triangle density. It's triangle density. It's the perfect way that we do polygons. It's saturated polygons.
100%. Yes.
The weight distribution of each corner. Yeah.
Yes, and she starts walking off with Renault to go get some food.
So this is love.
I am so happy. And this is the happiest I've been. I don't think I've ever expressed happiness until this point. This is lovely. Triangle. What did he say? I didn't even know. I don't even really care. Marguerite cares, and that's all that matters.
Honestly, a lot of the time when I hear Renault talking, it sort of, I get the first few words, and then it is just sort of a buzz.
Well, if you all sit down and eat, then I can. Well, yes. Let's just. I'm going to go eat my orange in quiet. He fucks off and he grabs some fruit.
I was about to be like, he's got an orange in here. Then I remember that latitude-wise falling trip.
It's the last one.
Yeah.
Like the last one.
We are in a tropical city after all.
He found it too. Yeah, seriously. This is like on the 23rd parallel or something like that. So, anyway, we're at 23rd, whatever the fuck it is. So let's see. I'm so glad I decided to sleep during the break. So with breakfast done and everything ready, Otto looks a little bit more infused with some energy. He had some tea, therefore he's very happy. I'm going to leave you to your own devices, of course. The door's that way, or rather the exit. You'll know the hallways, and the third time's a charm. Mr. Shahid, the information that you've given me here is going to be very, very handy. And I believe, as I had said, that I would be able to get you some answers on certain things. I'm very close to coming to bring some things together, particularly in its involvement with Wheeler Industries and your friends missing. Yes. Renault, does Dr. Teague have an answer regarding the bone damage that had taken place.
I would do you?
She looks at you and she's like, I was with you all night. Of course I don't.
No.
Right. Well, Dr. Teague, yep.
All right.
She leans over to Renault and kind of puts both hands on his left shoulder and kind of stands up, gives him a quick little peck on the cheek, and then kind of pushes him off. I'll get the results. And she
Shahid fans himself off with a piece of toast before he puts it in his mouth.
Okay. You guys end up exiting the facility. You get a little bit lost here and there, but for the most part, you guys remembered, and it's starting to feel a little bit more homey, which is actually rather nice. And then the sounds of the city overtake everything. It's busy. Fallen Drift, it's the midday. It's business is going. So I'm kind of curious. You want to go to Wheeler Industries, right? Okay.
Yes.
Not a problem. You end up going there, and you can tell that there is some sort of a hubbub. Now, you guys were in the Rips, so when you came out of the Rips, you saw your usual, and the usual unfortunates. End up going and staying on the east side of the city, and continuing up straight for about another 40 minutes or so by foot. You're passing very close to Ophelia's home. In fact, just a couple of blocks off, and then you would be able to meet it, or rather go there. Then you continue forward. Once you start getting into that industrial area, the smoke also begins to pick up. But there's also a smell of water in the air. You are now a little bit closer to the river north of the city as well. The hubbub around Wheeler Industries seems to be in a small fire that had started towards a second-story window. Renault, you remember that this thing was on the second story. And you can see that there are various people around, and there's a whole wagon there with that's filled with water, and people are ringing bells, and the various fire companies are competing for what have you. So the fire now pretty much gone. The Wheeler Industries, Mr. Wheeler himself is also outside, and he has informed his workers that he's sending everyone home for the day while he assesses the damage. This was on the factory, and it makes no sense for him to send anyone back in there. It is now noon in Fallen Drift on the 10th day of Last Gathering.
Are we... Does this change our plans at all?
I mean, the place is kind of in flames.
No. It's the fire's now out. Yeah, the fire. Yeah, exactly. The fire on the second floor is out.
But but there's evidence of a fire on the outside.
Oh yeah.
I would imagine
you could totally see the black side of the building where the flames came
out. This looks recent. Was this recently on fire? I'm gonna look around for any lingering fire department.
Yeah, you see them, and they're all talking about the fire and whatnot. There's a lot of water on the ground and whatnot. Renault, you also understand that the back entry that you had taken down the side of the building is probably completely available, and no one is there.
This way.
Oh, okay. I was going towards the fire people, and then I just went whoop.
And they're like, oh. So, Renault, take it away.
So, on the direct path on the side, I remember I thought I saw something go that way, but it hasn't been it's been a while since I've been here, so kind of one of those, you're following Renault, he doesn't know where he's going, and then finally he goes up. And walking through one of the little side entrances is a little doorway. And, I believe there was an escape. I believe it was a fire escape up here.
Yep.
And I point to the little pathway going up to the second story. This is how I originally entered this space. Would we all like to go first? How would we like to do this?
I guess just like the pit then, and I'm gonna hike my skirt up. Who wants to lift me up? I'll yep, okay.
We can say whether it is a series of ladders, like iron ladders, which are tacked onto the building as a method of fire escape, or and the door is closed, mind you, so apparently no one exited out of that door, or crates. Either way, you guys do manage to get up there. The door, with a little bit of work, will open eventually. You guys manage to get inside, and in fact, you can see, without actually entering too much, you can see it is a full-blown factory. Renault, the last time that you were here, it's very, very similar. It looks like that they shifted some pieces of machinery around, but you also notice that there is a pile, or rather, a heavy smell of burnt wood in one corner where a closet used to be. Now, the light in this place is actually rather dark, because while it is daylight outside, the place is huge. So imagine, if you will, a large factory level with concrete floors or what have you, and a single row of windows down at one end. So not much light is actually getting in here, and you guys are in the windowless side of things. So it is dark. May I have everyone please roll a perception check?
Yes.
18.
16.
Nice.
Mind if I use an urchin?
Yeah, do it.
Do it up.
Way better. 18.
18, you got it. Okay. Taking a look around, the place is empty of people. And then something shifts. It's on the dark side. It's, or rather, in the shadows of the corner where that burned-out closet was. Something just moved, and you thought you heard a.
Hello?
I start cautiously heading towards that direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw my gun and start heading that way as well.
Okay, you guys start moving forward, and you're about 30 feet from it. It's a very large, hall, or excuse me, room, about 50 feet wide or so. So you guys are about 30 feet away from it, and you begin moving forward.
State your purpose.
I am going to, as he says that, I'm going to grab something, the closest thing off some table nearby that I could toss nearby, cast a light on it, and toss it.
You talk.
I'm going to respond, routine maintenance.
Routine maintenance granted. Approach.
Meanwhile, Ophelia, you toss it, and you hear. There was a blast of red light that came directly out of that area, and then you can see the whole portion of it, more red, begins coming out and obliterates that thing. As it steps forward, it's you can see the beginnings of a red glow beginning to approach, and two pinpoint red eyes inside of a hollow metal skull. What are you guys doing?
You're muted, Kevin.
Now's not the time to mute.
I'm not muted. I caught my throat. I was like, routine maintenance.
Maintenance! Operator!
I'm doing maintenance.
Renault, should I shoot it?
Yeah, I'm just staring at Renault.
Absolutely not. You're
Identify.
Identify, Renault. Identify.
It kind of moves forward.
Say routine maintenance.
Routine maintenance.
Maintenance.
Identify.
That's not working. Ophelia
Name.
Moore.
A name.
Personnel number. Identify. Personnel number.
What's my personnel number?
0069.
Nice. 0069.
Oh God, you died.
I took and roll.
Everybody panics.
Ophelia Moore of Eastgate.
You see its eyes that pinpoints of red start getting a little bit brighter, and you can see the arm then comes up. You can see one portion of it is completely shaking, but what is here on its forearm, a couple of little wires and tubes coming down off of it, but also two very large tubes that begin to and then
Ducking.
we'll see you guys next week.
I fucking knew it. I knew it.